Today is April 2nd, 2013. I'm George Buster Rhines. We're going to review some footage of a community rally in Quitman, Georgia, the county of Brooks, wherein I, along with Diane Thomas, Councilman Brown, walked the streets in Quitman, and we were preparing to interview some people to really take a look at the alleged G.B.R. intimidation and what the citizens had to go through. And as you know, the Quitman 10+2 were arrested for alleged voter fraud. But many of us believe that they were arrested because it was the first time in Brooks County's history that black African Americans dominated and was the majority on the Brooks County Board of Education. Some did not like that, and we believe that that is what caused certain individuals to move upon 10 and later 2 more of the most outstanding citizens in Brooks County. Let's walk, let's walk. Let's walk with the Honorable Representative Tyrone Brooks, a legend in the civil rights movement. But once again, in South Georgia, when these professional people, such as the late Senator Robert Brown, Representative David Lucas, Miss Beautiful Helen Butler, and others came to the community, unlike when Isaacson or Jack Kingston or others come to the community, it was like a tree that fell in the forest. And then they tell us, by not reporting the news, that the forest does not exist. But I be on location, and I record it for you, and for our children, and for coming generations of children. Because we want you to know, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. KBCI once again, this is George Buster Rhines, and that's Diane Thompson with the Quitman 10, and the famous Tyrone Brooks, and James Brown, and we are just walking the streets here over in Brooks County, city of Quitman. We've been walking the streets finding out what people had to say about the alleged voter intimidation. Today is March 31st, 2012, and tomorrow will be April Fool's Day, but this is no April Fool's Day today because this is serious business. We have talked to quite a few people, and we're doing what we're doing. This is the second time that I have actually been out here with the Honorable Tyrone Brooks. And if you all are wondering why I use that term a lot, it's because when you pay your dues in the circles of civil rights, sometimes a lot of people don't even know the people that's fighting for them. It's just like when Jesse Jackson and those was fighting, they was fighting for me before I knew what the fight was all about. But when the Quitman 10 was charged with alleged voter fraud, I tell you that it really hit me because of the fact that it was the first time in Quitman in Brooks County that blacks had dominated the Board of Education. We're about to go into someone's house here, and we're going to cut off here after she knocks on the door. We're not going to put them on camera because we respect their right to their own privacy. So we're just going to stand outside here.
I wanted you to personally.
But this is what we do. Greetings. Today is March 31st. The most honorable civil rights leader and veteran of the Martin Luther King, Joseph Lowry movement, along with the Jesse L. Jackson and other freedom fighters that came this way, Benjamin Hooks and the rest of them. The one, Tyrone Brooks, is here in Brooks County, Georgia, in support of the Quitman 10 and the community that we live This is Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church. And of course, you know that Mr. Allen, a black man, started the movement to respect and honor the people from the land of the burnt-faced people. We're about to have a meeting, a community meeting.
Why do we need to be here? To answer some of your questions so that you will be knowledgeable about what's going on. And it takes more than 10 or 12 to spread the word of change. So we're asking that you feel free to ask questions. And we have a man here who has been on the battlefield for a very long time. He knows what's going on, he knows what to do, he knows what to say, and he knows how to operate. So, you know, a leader, you are as good as your leader. You got a bad leader, you already know things are going to go bad for you. So we feel that we have a great leader. So without further ado, I present to you our very own Mr. Tyrone Brooks.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Diane Thomas, and all of the Quitman 10 plus roles. Thank you for your leadership. I'm not your leader. You are your leader. I'm your supporter. The Quitman 10 represents. I'm driving Thursday night from across Atlanta over to the house, and I had the roof.
Once again, this is Representative Tyrone Brooks. And much like the late Senator Robert Brown, Representative David Lucas, the Honorable Helen Butler in the Black experience, the civil rights warrior, much like others who traveled to Brooks County on many occasions, all in support of the Quitman 10. We traveled to Savannah, Macon, the state capital, and other areas, and as well as being on radio in Atlanta. But down here in South Georgia, as far as the accomplishments, the degrees, the professional family people that the Quitman 10 plus 2 are, it was almost like they was criminals, and like they didn't accomplish anything in life. I don't remember once that it was published in the South Georgia news media outlets that Dennard has a doctorate degree, highly respected in the Brooks County community. Not only that, her family is highly respected over in Quitman in Brooks County. But you don't know nothing about that. And just like you don't know nothing about this meeting and much more information about the Quitman 10. And so they try, in my most humble opinion, which I can back it up by facts, paint them as criminals, when in truth, they are the best citizens that Brooks County has ever produced. And for them to get out and register people to vote, to have blacks to occupy the majority vote on the Brooks County Board of Education was indeed a historic moment. And we glory in their efforts, and we thank them, much like the Madison 9, who was also arrested and jailed, and later all the charges have been dismissed against them. And not only there, but in other locations around the United States. It was as if though somebody's trying to control and suppress the black vote for political reasons. But we believe that in the end, St. John 8:32 will reign supreme, which says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set."
I made a terrible mistake. I feel good, and looking forward to a great day today. I want to thank all of you for giving value for the Georgia Association of Black Elected Officials for our winter conference that was held here February 24th through the 26th. And after evaluating and analyzing that conference, where we brought the Dean of the Civil Rights Movement to Quitman in Brooks County, Dr. Joe G.B.R, Presidential Medal of Freedom winner, after talking to all of the members and officers around the state, we concluded that you gave us one of the best conferences in our history. So we see it as we look at the photographs, look at the websites, all the emails and texts still talks about the Quitman 10+2. So I want you to know that you're not alone. We will stand with you. We will continue to support you. And I just want you all to stay together. Just stay united, and we will not fail. Today, we're here for a town hall public hearing to allow the citizens of this community who've been harassed, intimidated, threatened, arrested, to tell us really how you've been treated or mistreated.
Now, you see, this is what from day one, when I was in Atlanta on December 21st, and Pastor Benjamin and myself, we walked the streets of Quitman, and we heard about the G.B.R. intimidation as well as other intimidation by others over in Brooks County. And I got in touch with the news media in South Georgia. No one chose to publish anything about what elderly people went through, what mothers and fathers went through. It was as if though it was of no value, no concern to the mainstream media. And so what I did, of course, I have it documented. This is not a joke. This is a fact of reality with the 80-some-year-old lady in Morven, Georgia, and other areas. But the South Georgia news media didn't report anything about the alleged intimidation, and what the question was asked black African Americans is as if though once again they're trying to control, suppress, and abate. And this is what he's talking about. Let's continue.
Whether it's the G.B.R., the Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, the State Election Board, the FBI, whoever, we want you to spend 2 or 3 or 5 minutes and just really give us an opportunity to develop a record that we're going to send to the U.S. Department of Justice Attorney General Eric Holder. And we've asked our good friend, Brother George Ryan, to tape this for us. We're going to send the tape to the Department of Justice next week, and we're going to ask the U.S. Attorney General to review it. Everything we do here, we send information to Washington. We know they're reading, we know they're listening, we know they're looking, and we want to give them as much evidence as possible.
Yes, we know the Justice Department is looking. We know they're watching. In fact, they've been watching since the 1998-99 time frame about the 31 jail deaths here in Valdosta, Georgia, just 18 miles east of Brooks County. And we see little to no changes. It is as if, though, the Justice Department is just us. Just us. It's no longer it's just dust. And so we look to them back in the late 90s, and we didn't see nothing from them. And they have come here 3 or 4 times, and information and people have talked to the Justice Department, and yet it's as if though our country is falling apart. Even with the black African American president, who I walked the streets. I was on ABC Nightly News with Mr. Gibson. I thought that by us getting him elected, at least as a minimum, someone would come down and try to find out why a little metro city like Valdosta was leading the state of Georgia in jail deaths. But nothing has happened. And let us continue. I want to stay focused. Let's get back. And this is what he got to say about the Justice Department, the FBI, and the GBI, and the citizens' right to vote. Listen, please.
So that they will intervene on the Quitman+2's behalf. We want the federal government to intervene and give you support as we go through these trials and tribulations, these charges, these accusations, the indictments. We want the federal government to intervene and support them. We've already written the Attorney General. We've sent you letters. We sent you copies of the letters. And we think that the way we laid out the request is absolutely appropriate, because we have seen the U.S. Department of Justice intervene in similar cases throughout its history. And one of the cases that we worked on from SCLC in 1982 was over in Aliceville, Alabama, Pickens County. Miss Maggie Bozeman and Miss Julia Wilder doing the same thing that you all are doing: voter registration, voter education, turning out to vote, running candidates for office. They were arrested, they were prosecuted, and we convinced the U.S. Department of Justice to intervene on their behalf, and we won their case. So this is building the record so that we can convince Attorney General Holder, Obama's appointee, to run the Department of Justice, to come and intervene and give you support having the federal government stand with you as we go through the process of dealing with these accusations. And they are accusations. They are accusations. That's all they are. There's been no arraignment. We feel that at an arraignment hearing, there's a possibility that all of these charges will be dismissed. And we think that's one of the reasons they're holding out. Because you go to an arraignment held, the judge is going to look at the evidence and say, hey, you know, this is kind of weak. I think I need to dismiss this. And let's end this right now. That's a possibility. But anyway, today we want you, the citizens of this community, to come and tell us how you have been mistreated by the system, whether it's local, whether it's state or federal. And it's going to be recorded, and we're going to transmit a copy to the U.S. Department of Justice. We are requesting that you fill out one of these forms. Everybody fill out one of these, whether you're going to speak or not. And if you want to make a statement, there's space at the bottom, and you can use the back of this form. But we want to collect these forms today. And
I'm going to end it right here. I'm not going to publish any of the statements on YouTube, but I do have it in my archival record. I just want the people to know that it was documented that some citizens in Brooks County was treated in ways that reminds us of the 60s. But I'm going to end it here. I see little value in me identifying the statements that anybody would have given about what they went through. We want the justice system to run its course. We want to sit back and highlight and wait and understand why the Justice Department, the Attorney General, the Governor of the state of Georgia, the Secretary of State, the Georgia Attorney General, we just want to take a valid look and see if something is seriously wrong in our nation. Here in Valdosta, we know that we have had Gotti Egerton, we have had Kendrick Johnson to die in the Lowndes County High School gymnasium. They said there was no foul play from the sheriff. Personally, the children saying that it was indeed a homicide. Some of the people that went into the gymnasium saying that it was a homicide. And yet there have been little outcry to the fact that there's a murderer still on the loose. And if you don't know who killed or possibly contributed to that young man's losing his life, then there's a great possibility that there's a murderer on the loose. And who says that he's not going to school every day at the Lowndes County High School or in some other school here in Valdosta? And so we're not even being filled in about the possibility that that was a homicide and not an accident. We are looking at it. I've been asking children, and I do believe that there need to be an outside look. And we're still waiting for the G.B.R. to render their findings. We are waiting for the Lowndes County coroner, to step up to the plate and let us know what took place. And if this was an accident, let us know. Let the citizens, the mothers and the fathers who are sending their children to these schools here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, in both the city and county schools, the parents, the mothers, the fathers, the sisters, the brothers need to know if we still have possibly, just possibly, the person or persons that may have contributed to this young man's death. Or if we need to take a look at law enforcement or the school educators and those who may have been remotely knowledgeable of why this young man had to die at such an early age. And moreover, why the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is taking so long to present to the citizens of the state of Georgia. Moreover, a case that's dealing with our children. Why have not Governor Nathan Deal spoken out concerning the swiftness of the G.B.R, law enforcement, and others? We all acknowledge the power of the sheriff's department or any constitutional office, but there's one thing about it. Our sons and daughters are still attending these schools, and the parents, I'm sure, are troubled, very troubled, because they are still sending their children out. So I'm asking you to join us on April the 8th in the Brooks County courtroom at 9 o'clock. We're asking people to come as early as 7 o'clock so we can bear witness the power of the black vote, so we can commend and support the Quitman 10, who for the first time in Brooks County history gave the community a black majority on that board for the first time in history. And we understand that black, or that a black majority does not make it right. But we do understand that right always make it right. And so we're going to close this out. Thank you. We're going to continue to ask the federal government to come in on many issues in our beloved community. Once again, let's listen to a little bit more before we close this out. Let's do that, okay? Thank you.
We'll keep them in our file and make copies and send those along with the recorded proceedings today up to the Department of Justice. So this is very important. Try to make it simple. Public town hall meeting here, Bethel Church. Reason is voter registration, harassment, intimidation, threats, and suppression. And it's very simple. So we need these forms today. We want to end this proceeding by 3 o'clock. It's not going to be an all-day, wear-you-down thing.
And so it was, and as he read the paper about suppression, we also know that in Valdosta, just 18 miles east of Brooks County, there was an old 1860 city charter that was only removed in 2004 because I asked that it be removed. It was a disgrace to everybody stationed at Moody Air Force Base. It was a disgrace to people who attend Valdosta State University. It was a disgrace to the people that frequent Kendaloo Golf Course. It was a disgrace to everybody that goes to Francis Lake Golf Course. It was a disgrace to Georgia Military College. It was a disgrace to Wiregrass Technical College. And of course, it was a disgrace to all retired military veterans, as well as everyday common citizens with the right mindset. It was a disgrace to the Bible Belt and all the churches who follow the followings of Jesus Christ, and all the mosques and all the synagogues who follow the son of Amram and Yoshabel Moses. And it just was a disgrace. And so that 1860 charter was reluctantly removed. The reason I mention it here is because, as Representative Tyrone Brooks said, voter suppression, because in section 100, paragraph 11, that disgraceful charter read that the mayor and council shall pass all proper and necessary laws and ordinances for the control of slaves, and to control, suppress, and abate all nuisances arising from hogs, dogs, horses, and other livestock in Valdosta, Georgia. And as a retired veteran, I took offense to that charter that was on the second floor of Valdosta City Hall, leading into the municipal courtroom of the Honorable Judge Edwards, where citizens, black, white, German, Japanese, Koreans, everybody came seeking and expecting justice under the law. So it was only right that it be removed, although the Mayor John Freddy did not have a problem with it, and some of the others on council did not have a problem with it. But thank God, that the majority of blacks, all blacks and a couple of whites, saw a need to remove it. And it was reluctantly removed. And so we're going to continue to do what we do, because we do not believe that 1860 charter mentality to suppress, control, and abate the citizens or the news no longer have a purpose here in the new metro city of Valdosta, Georgia. And it should be eliminated throughout South Georgia, the state of Georgia, and in the United States of America. Once again, this is Boston G.B.R. on YouTube, doing what I do because I truly, truly love you, and I love this great nation of ours. Unless we speak out on the principles of truth, we just may lose this nation. And we're going to continue to appeal under the President Barack Obama administration's Eric Holder and the entire Justice Department. We're going to continue to ask them, is there any justice left within the department? Today is April the 2nd, 2013. And on April the 8th, one of the Quitman 10 or Quitman 12 will be going to court in Brooks County, Georgia, home of the Mary Turner lynchings, known as the Week of Terror in May of 1918. When the Quitman 10 became a majority on the Brooks County Board of Education, undoubtedly it presented problems for some people in that county. And as you know, they were arrested on December 21st, 3 of them that served on the Board of Education, for alleged voter fraud. Later, 2 other people joined the Quitman 10 and they became the Quitman 12. Again, April the 8th, they will face a jury and a judge, and hopefully they can receive justice in the Southern Judiciary, wherein I understand from attorneys that very few black judges, if any, sits on the bench. Now we know that white does not make it right. And we know that adding more blacks on the bench will not make it right. But I also understand that right always make it right and get it right. I want to share a video with you some years ago. You know, it's almost 3 years before they even get to go to trial. The people of Brooks County came together, involving over 1,000 people. Some gathered around the courthouse, some went to the Shoemake Church, some was too afraid to be seen at the courthouse because they feared for their jobs. Some stood along the roadside in support, and some sat on the back porch shivering like a wet bird out of fear. So I'm going to share some of that with you as we get ready for this trial coming up Monday. And I'm going to say to you, listen, I recorded this and then I spoke over it. And so we're going to let you listen to a little bit of this. Listen, please. This is the voice of the people in Brooks County, Georgia. They are crying out for justice, and this was over a year ago. And they are crying out still. And they are waiting for their elected officials. They are waiting for CNN. They are waiting for the Justice Department. We don't believe that the state of Georgia can resolve